On September 8, 2007, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office responded to a call at the Palisades apartment complex on University Boulevard in Jacksonville, Florida, around 3:30 in the afternoon. When officers arrived, they discovered 23-year-old Kelli Chapple inside the apartment. Kelli had unfortunately suffered fatal gunshot wounds and was found in the bedroom. In the kitchen, officers found another victim, 28-year-old David Matos, Kelli's boyfriend at the time. He had also been shot. The discovery inside the Palisades apartment would begin a murder investigation that remains unsolved nearly 2 decades later. 2 people lost their lives. A family was left with unanswered questions, and investigators have never been able to file charges. This is the story of Kelli Chapple. Kelli was born in New Jersey and spent much of her life in Brooklyn, New York. She grew up with her loving parents and her older sister, Leslie. After she graduated high school, Kelli attended the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. And in early 2007, she decided to make a change in her life and moved to Jacksonville, Florida, in order to be closer to her father, who had relocated for his work. After moving to Jacksonville, Kelli continued focusing on her education and career. She had attended Florida State College at Jacksonville while pursuing a degree in biology. She also worked as a customer service representative at ADT Security. Her family would describe her as someone who was loving and loved to learn and connect with all types of people. Her father described her as curious and someone who always wanted to understand more about life. She also loved spending time with her family and enjoyed cooking her father's favorite meals. Kelli was more than just a name connected to a cold case. She was a daughter, a sister, and a young woman who had a lot of life left to live. After moving to Jacksonville, that is where Kelli met David. The two connected partly because they both had roots in New York, and their relationship was still relatively new, but Kelli had stayed at David's apartment the night before the murders. September 8, 2007, Kelli's father, Bernard, had no idea that his life was about to change for the worse. As he was watching the news, Bernard saw a report about 2 people being found dead inside an apartment. And at first, he did not realize the victims were in any connection to his daughter. But not long after seeing the report, Bernard received a phone call from one of Kelli's co-workers at ADT Security. And she asked if he had heard from Kelli at all. And he said he hadn't, because he assumed she was just either at work or spending time at David's apartment. She then went on to explain that she'd driven by David's apartment and noticed police activity, along with Kelli's vehicle. And as Bernard looked back at the news report, he did, in fact, recognize the car. He later said he knew something was wrong because Kelli was someone who'd always contacted him. Eventually, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office contacted Bernard and asked him to come and confirm her identity. When he was shown a picture, his fears were confirmed. It was in fact his daughter, Kelli Chapple. After the discovery, investigators began trying to piece together what exactly happened, but were unable to gather enough evidence to make an arrest. And over the years, different possibilities surrounding the case have been considered, but no suspect has been charged. The case remained open, but without enough evidence to move forward, the investigation eventually became a cold case. And for Kelli's family, the lack of answers has made the loss that much harder. Kelli's father, Bernard Chapple, has spoken publicly about the pain of losing his daughter and the unanswered questions that still remain. He said that people often talk about finding closure, but for families of murder victims, closure is difficult when they do not know what happened. Nearly every day, Bernard continues to think about Kelli and the future she never got to have.
Not a day that does not go by where I don't think about her.
At only 23 years old, Kelli had so much life ahead of her. She had made plans and dreams, and all that was just unexpectedly taken away. Today, the murders of Kelli Chapple and David Matos remain unsolved. No one has yet been charged in connection with their deaths, and the investigators continue to ask anyone with information to come forward. For nearly 2 decades, Kelli's family has been waiting for answers. Her story is a reminder that behind every cold case is a real person, a real family, and a life that mattered. She was a daughter, a sister, and someone whose story is still waiting for an ending.